Hades and their characters. Mr. Hades man here. Doing our tier list. So this one is just off of Hades characters. This has pretty much all of the Bane characters, NPCs, the boon giver people with portraits. Um, I'm just gonna throw them into a list for you guys who've played the game. Half of these characters give you buffs and abilities throughout your runs, because it's like a roguelike game. Most of the Greek gods do. Other ones are bosses, and other ones are just simply characters you talk to in between your runs. So, grading this, I was kind of thinking, how do I want to grade it on? I think it's going to be just a mix of things like design. If they do give you buffs or items in your runs, how do I feel about them personally? This is just kind of a more personal, not how meta they are. This is anything like super big like that. I've played the game for like a good 80 hours, but I've not put in some of the work that some Hades fans have played. And then just how I like their personality and how they're depicted from like just other forms in Greek mythology, if they have stuff to easily compare on. So yeah, that's kind of it. It's gonna try to be a mix of it, just because it's hard to rank them, or else like all the ones who give like boons are gonna be like super high up, and the ones who just simply don't are gonna be low. So bear with me. This is gonna be kind of but also this is Hades 1. This is probably made before Hades 2. I have actually not played Hades 2. It's still in early access at the time of making this. Most of it looks really good and really finished too. It's kind of surprising that it's called early access. I'll get to that eventually, but I want to get to this, and I'm kind of just doing this to help satiate the time. I'm really excited to play that game. I'm probably just going to wait till it's fully ready to go and drop. So I just have so many games to play, and if I play it now and beat it, I feel like I'm not going to want to pick it up when it's done, or just put it off for too long, because I'm very bad at that. So, we will start out with Achilles. It's starting in order here. Achilles is awesome. He's like your first real bro you meet in the game. He is actually one of the just NPCs you meet in the House of Hades in between your runs. He's not giving you any boons, anything like that. I think he's really cool. His personality is awesome. I like this kind of the fallen hero. He's really downtrodden throughout the game. Makes sense when you kind of get into his quest line with Patroclus and get him in there. But I love it. His rooting for you always on the side. He always just feels like a good source. He's also kind of like your trainer for combat, or he was your trainer in lore stuff. You don't actually fight with him. That'd be cool if they had like a boss battle, so to speak. But I love Achilles. Honestly, I think he's already going to be here. His design is awesome. I loved his voice too. It was very, like I said, calm for like a big war hero. It was just very sounding level-headed. It was cool. I loved its story. When you wrap up his story, I don't want to maybe fully spoil. Gosh, I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about that, but some of these characters are, I guess, spoiler-esque. So, yeah. I'm just gonna assume you beat the game, I guess. This is your spoiler warning. If I do say anything spoilery, but his story when it was wrap up, I don't want to say all of it, but it's really cool. It's really cool. I got it. I'm trying to think of other words than cool, huh? Get at the source. Getting to wrap up his story at the end and seeing him kind of a little bit more happy near the end of the game when you do fix his kind of his problem that he has, because a lot of these characters do have problems that Zagreus tries to go fix. It's really cool. Once again, I love this guy. He's awesome, and he just doesn't deserve anything but happiness. He's cool, at least in this game, obviously. It's nice. Alecto, this is next. She is one of the Furies. You first go off by fighting Meg, or Megara, then you also have to fight the two other Furies, Alecto and Tisiphone. Meg has a lot of like relevance to the story, especially with Zagreus' character, and the other Furies don't, but you kind of fight them periodically. They'll swap off as like the first main hurdle in Tartarus. That's the first boss, is one of the Furies. In terms of boss design, I feel like the three, I don't know. I think I prefer fighting Tisiphone the least. So Alecto's probably in the middle. But like personality-wise, she's just kind of sadistic. That's really it. The other Furies don't really have much of a personality, if I'm being completely honest. Design, I'm not super like, it's all right. But I'm gonna probably put her in kind of boring. I don't really hate it. Design's okay. just kind of feels like a antagonistic kind of character. You don't really get to see her much. I don't think you see the other two Furies outside of just the boss fights. So that's kind of where I feel with that. Yeah. I also think it's going in alphabetical order, and one of the last people we get is Zagreus. I think I just want to go hit Zagreus first, now that they get close to Zagreus right away, just to get him out of the way. So I'm going to throw Zagreus right here, just so I can talk about him a bit. Zagreus, this is a game of a very weird marketing, in my opinion, because the poster, whatever, the box art, the cover for Zagreus kind of shows him off as this, like, cocky dude. Kind of like, I don't know, and then of course with like the tagline like, oh, you're escaping your father, getting out of Tartarus, you don't want to get out of the underworld. It just made it seem like I don't listen to rules because I'm cool. And he's not that. I was extremely surprised when I played the game to find that Zagreus is very, very just three-dimensional. He's got so much depth to him. I love seeing his relationships with pretty much every character. Him kind of growing too, and just seeing like the backstory of him learning a lot about his past was very, very cool to see. And yeah, a lot of the character dynamics he has with people like they were mentioned with Achilles and some of the other characters like Meg or Thanatos, where there's some very clearly past relations that we're kind of coming in the middle of this story. So it's very interesting to see. But I really like it. He genuinely seems to care about everybody, especially when you are deepening your friendship with people. And I love this character. He was a pretty awesome protagonist, and honestly one of the best, I think, in recent games I've played, because he is so awesome. It's just cool. It's a great character. I love the design. Love his voice, love his personality. It went so hard because I didn't expect him to be somebody I would really like a whole lot. I'm just kind of like, okay, it just kind of seems like, I don't know, very early shonen anime protagonist-y vibes, maybe with a little bit more douchery, if that's a word, douchebaggery. But no, Zagreus is awesome, and I'm excited to see how the second protagonist, Melino, I don't remember how to pronounce it correctly, but I'm excited to see her. I believe she is Zagreus' sister. It's confirmed, I think. So, once again, trying to go into the game as blind as possible for Hades 2. So, apologies if I get any of those details wrong if I bring it up in passing. So, interesting to see her. I'm excited. All right. Anyways, back to alphabetical order. We got the first of the gods who give you boons, Aphrodite. Aphrodite. I guess let's talk about design-wise. I think the design is pretty spot on. And she's naked only except for her hair pretty much covering parts. Design's great. Personality is just kind of what you'd expect. And then boons are kind of a mixed bag. They'll have their own kind of status effect. Each of the gods have their own status effect that kind of works into the personalities. I think hers was like Heartbreak. I don't think her abilities were the most useful or most fun, in my opinion. Maybe not useful is the right word, but probably more just fun or fit my play style. I'm gonna put her in like a solid tier. I don't usually gravitate towards her boons if I get an option, but I don't dislike them either. Just kind of in the middle, or near the bottom at least, of the boon givers. Yeah, it's okay, though. I don't have much to say on that. It's just, I think overall it's pretty much where you'd expect from Aphrodite, and her design, personality, all that stuff. Very flirtatious, just kind of how you'd expect of her to be. Next is Ares. Ares' design is cool. I really like his design. I'm kind of thinking in this range. I use his boons a lot more. Personality-wise, I mean, it's just kind of, oh, I'm Ares, yeah. I feel like he doesn't have too much of a personality besides just, some of the gods don't really have too in-depth personalities, if I'm being honest. They're just kind of like your trait, Aphrodite's flirty. Ares is like, well, the god of war, so. Talking about battling blood and stuff like that. I might just put him here in awesome. His abilities were really super cool. Oh yeah, there's right. So there's like blade rifts. Is you have a call where you can kind of turn yourself into a blade, an impervious blade kind of thing. Doom is, I think, the one it's got here. It's kind of like a revenge type effect where I believe you get hit, and then it's like after you take damage, you deal some enemy damage back to enemies, if I remember correctly. And it is very cool. And I do remember he is a god you can, with the right builds, with the right luck, you can make broken. It's very cool, but obviously, some people might be turned off because it is a kind of take damage to give damage kind of thing. So that's cool. If that's kind of, yeah. Other than that, he's a very solid choice. I don't think you can't go wrong with it. But personality is kind of lacking, but design is cool, and his boons are pretty awesome. So next is Artemis. I think she's a pretty fan favorite, and I'd have to agree. I think I want to put her up here. Hers is just pretty much like crit striking and like accuracy, like homing missiles and stuff. Her abilities are very kind of standard and kind of boring. I think early on it turned me off, where it's just like all these other cool effects, and then Artemis was just like, okay, this critical strikes deal more damage. But I learned to just think that her abilities can be paired very nicely with others. I think are very good. Love her design. Kind of love the personality she gets going on. No, but it's for Artemis, it's very kind of cute, where you get to see the relationship with her and Zagreus to kind of grow up a little bit more. Because she reaches out to him with like the boons and stuff that she gives you, and then kind of sees a little bit of herself, because you're kind of defying, a lot of the underworld order, so to speak. And she kind of reaches, sees her a little bit of herself in you, as she kind of is like kind of her lone wolf huntery kind of self, as Artemis is. And kind of as you deepen your bond with each of the characters, she's one that, it's like, hey, she really appreciates you as like a good friend, and it's cool. I like seeing that. It's like a good friendship they kind of, overall get. And I like it. People a lot of just love her design too, and I'd have to agree, it's really great. Artemis is awesome. Her abilities are really cool. That's about it. We have the Minotaur. Asterius. Is it Asterius? Alright, I'm not saying it wrong. My mind wants to go to Starion, but I'm thinking of yeah, Asterius. I was thinking Baldur's Gate. I don't know why. It's just probably the steer part. The first thing I want to say, it's kind of cool. He'll fight you as a mini boss sometimes, which is interesting, beforehand, and then you can fight him later, where it's like he'll have a little bit less health. So him and Theseus make an interesting pair if you know the actual like Greek lore, the story with the Minotaur. And all that stuff, but they're in Elysium fighting you as like the third kind of tiered boss there. He's a lot easier to fight, in my opinion, than Theseus, so I usually target him first. I think that's usually the usual play there. But I like him. I don't really have too much to say about him. I like his design, personality. If he talks, I guess more than I would have expected. I wouldn't have been super surprised if they just made him like make a bunch of grunting sounds, kind of stuff like that. So yeah, that's really all I got for that. Not too much to say. Athena is also, I might have to put her in the godly tier. Her personality is very what you'd expect, very like respectable, very polite, very just as a goddess of wisdom, you'd expect that. And her abilities are probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite. She's all about deflecting there. That deflect dash that you get is probably usually my go-to ability. If I can put something on my dash, it's probably Athena's. Her abilities are probably, I've used her abilities the most. It's just my personal play style. I love the deflecting all the projectiles and stuff, because sometimes some of the battles can become very bullet hell, very chaotic quickly, and she's great. Her baller personality isn't super great. I still like the design. It's very solid. She's, I think, the first god that you reach out to if you start a new game, if I remember correctly, which is also kind of cool. Gives a little points to that. I don't know why. I just like that. It's like she sees the worth in Zagreus, respects him as a person too. I overall like her. She's awesome, and that's kind of just where I feel like putting her. Once again, it's hard to rank these, as I think her boons are probably like would be peak level, but then her like personality, I don't really have super much to say, but it'd probably be a lot more in the solid tier. But I like her, great character. Yeah. Boldy. Cerberus. I feel like people are gonna be mad if I don't put him in like the peak thing. So I'll do it. Just a piece of people. Cerberus is your dog. He hangs out by Hades in his house, and you can pet him. You can pet him a lot. He threw a tantrum when he first left and teared up the entirety or parts of the house. It was kind of funny that way, just acting him like an actual dog. Cerberus is funny. There's not really much of a personality there. His keepsake actually used quite a bit. The old spike collar. It's like just like a health buff. It helped me with my early runs, especially when I was very what's the word, like nervous, I wanted to play it safe. So he is very, very good that way. So yeah. All right, Chaos. Chaos is very interesting of a character. I like the kind of how you access Chaos. They are super awesome. Their design is wild. Is one of the most interesting designs in the entire game here. Just take a look at its like sprite and full for a while. It is wild. Their boons are very interesting too. They don't play the boons as most of the other gods. You first have to go seek them out, and usually you have to get hit with a challenge. It will be usually some sort of debuff for a bit. You'll get punished in some way if you do whatever. It's like a rule set, like don't use your special attack for 3 rooms, or suffer like 7 health at the same time, or spike traps will do 200% more damage, stuff like that. It's very interesting, and it's very risk reward. You play very risky for a few runs to get a very good reward, and that's having a good Chaos run where you go to get Chaos, go get one of their boons. It turns out on the good side there. It's awesome. You want a good Chaos run. And I've had it where I took a Chaos challenge, got kind of messed up, and then died pretty quickly after, but other times Chaos has carried me very far and beat a game or beat a run that I might have not beat otherwise. So Chaos for that, I think, is going to go an awesome tier. It's very risk reward like that. The personality is just there. It's very, I'm the watcher of everything, I'm the creator of everything. Kind of very mysterious, but I think it fits. It's very fitting. Charon is next. Another one that I think I'd have to place in peak. I love Charon. He's your shopkeeper. And he just grumbles, he moans, but I think it's funny, his interactions with Zagreus, because Zagreus always has something witty and funny to say to Charon. I love that he'll have a sack later on of coins that you can steal. The record scratch always caught me off guard the first time I did it, where I stole it, record scratch, and he's like, oh, thanks, and he warps you into a fight with him where you can fight him, and it's all cool. He's like a little secret extra boss, and I love Charon. He's just awesome. His design is so cool. He's peak. What can I say? Demeter. The frost ability she has, very cool design. Is like a very bitter, bitter person over the events of, the Greek lore. Kind of why she's, this cold, wintry self of hers. I think I like her boons quite a bit. Personality is kind of there. It's very cold. Get it because she's right now icy. Yeah. Anyways, she's cool. God dang it, that's a pun, isn't it? Yeah. Her stuff's all right. I think her boons are pretty much better than most of that. The design's fine. I don't have too much of a problem with it. Kind of makes sense to make her that old when she's the mother of Persephone. So when we get to Persephone, we'll see that. Yeah, I don't have too much to say about her. You do get to, she's like the last of the gods you usually get in boons, because I think you have to make it to Hades once, or make it to the surface once. But yeah, either way. Dionysus is next. Dionysus, I love him. He's funny. His design's cool. His personality's funny. Like the Zagba man. Like I can't do it. Sorry, voice. Um, his design's pretty amazing. His personality's funny. I love his little like relationship he's got with Zagreus. It's so funny. He's like best bros. And his abilities are interesting. Not the most useful in my opinion. It's like a drunk effect, which kind of acts as just your poison in this game. Poison clouds, poison after effects. It's cool. Not the most, but I think overall he just balances out as a very solid choice for gods. But I tend to pick other ones over him, like Artemis or Athena, or a few others that we'll get to. So, Medusa, sorry. A very weird character. I honestly wasn't the biggest fan of Medusa. It's just kind of weird, nervous, skittish, housemaid type of floating head. You talk to her, she'd fly away. I don't really know. I don't have a whole lot, too much to say about her. She's not like bad. I kind of found some of her interactions funny with Zagreus, so I think for that she stays in like meh. But I don't know, definitely not the design of a Gorgon or a Medusa that you'd expect, or like personality wise even too. So either way, all right, Eurydice. I think her design's pretty cool. Her design is cool. Her personality's awesome. She's got a very sick design, and she's got some pretty interesting buffs. You meet her in Asphodel. I think I'll put her in awesome. I think she's cool. I don't have anything like super crazy, but like when you get to finally reunite her with Orpheus, I think it's kind of a cool interaction to see those two. But definitely has kind of an interesting personality, fiery to especially the personality went with Orpheus, where he's very cowardly almost and very timid when he speaks. She also has a very nice song you get to hear anytime you go visit her place, so it's cool. She always bakes you something nice. I like her. She's awesome. She can stay. Hades himself. Hades is a very cool character. Because I didn't know how they would make him in this game. But they did it really well. His personality, he grows quite a bit throughout the game. And to see him finally assisting you, accepting you near the end after you beat him a few times is really cool. It's nice to see. It's like it really breaks the shell of him as your father to show that he very seems cold, doesn't almost care, which really drives the whole plot of this game. But kind of when you take the effort and help reunite Persephone and him, it is really nice to see some sort of him, like some sort of trying, you know? It's like, obviously, I think there's like a whole relationship of Zagreus and, you know, Hades, where they just have a very strained relationship, and they're trying to salvage parts that have been really needing to be rectified for years, and they haven't been. But I think it's good. I like what they did with him. His battle is fucking hard. Still. Yeah, that's cool. It's very cool. Love his design too. It's very, very tough, intimidating. What you'd expect, really. His voice is booming. It's awesome. Hermes. I think I want to put him in solid. Simply for the fact that I think his design's okay. Not really super crazy. His abilities can be very useful. Some of his abilities, like a side hustle where you get a bunch of money every chamber you go into. I like to just have, because I'm a money hoarder, if you're trying to go for like buying a bunch of crap runs, but it can also save you near the end, because when you get to the Temple of Styx, there's a big shop that opens up, with which you can kind of buy a bunch of boons if you've saved up the money. Some of his dashing abilities can be very helpful, but also it's just nothing that's like super crazy. Like his abilities, I don't break the game, but I don't think they're also very helpful. So I think it's just kind of there. His personality talks very fast, but I don't think he has too much of a much else personality. That's kind of just his very little witty kind of personality he's got going on there. Um, yeah, that's really all I got to say. I don't honestly have much to say. I'd pick his abilities. His abilities are good. I don't think, once again, I don't know if I said it, but any of the boons are bad. I don't think any of them are bad. And he's definitely no exception. So, Hypnos. I don't like Hypnos. I don't. It sounds like fucking Marge Simpson. First off, second off, there's like a just weird kind of asshole-ish personality. We got. To be fair, is one of the only ones I haven't finished their story with, actually. As for I've locked on it. I don't know if I have to not. I don't know why I've not like triggered the event for Hypnos to get that, even though I've played it for a very long time. It just kind of mocks you when you die. It just kind of always falling asleep as you'd expect for the god of sleep. But I just really don't like. This is the first person you see every time you just boot up a run most of the time, and it's just like, or when you die and you come back to the House of Hades. I don't like you. Your design is just kind of whatever. I don't know. It's kind of a miss on the characters, but as you see, the tier list is definitely skewed to the top, so this is definitely a little bit more of an outlier than the norm. So, I don't know. Maybe there's like, I'm missing that one scene where I think there's like some scene with Thanatos and Hypnos where they kind of reunite as brothers, but I don't know. Yeah. Alright, Meg. I think she's extremely hot. I actually really like her design. Her voice is... Oh my god. It's awesome. You heard her voice, man. So, you know, she fights you. You go and you first beat her. Like, there's some kind of history there. She's here to stop you, regardless, because her orders are to not let anyone leave Tartarus. And then you kind of see her at the bar post runs, and it's kind of interesting watching those two clearly forge from a very rocky relationship they had in the past, and you can kind of move towards things to make it mend things. And I like that actually a lot. They have a very cool dynamic that I love to see. Because yeah, you fight her in battle. She's very kind of like just aggressive and angry, but she's a lot more cool. Cooled down, mellowed out, not there. Sometimes she's willing to talk to you, other times she just kind of tells you to piss off. I do think it's cool. So you can like choose to go like with the relationship route with them. I think it's cool. I love her. Her design's awesome. She is like the, I guess if you had to choose the character, it's Meg for me, the waifu or husbando character. If you had to pull it that way, but Meg is yeah. Nyx, I really like Nyx too. One of these tiers, I think. Yeah, I'll put her awesome. So for personality-wise, she's very, well, motherly is what she is. She kind of did act as Zagreus' adoptive mom for all this years. And another point to Zagreus' favor, why I love him as a character, she's kind of the one who really helps you the most, first off, in like the lore stuff where, you know, she's helping do a lot of this behind Hades' back, just because I think she knows kind of how it feels, trying to bound between Hades and Zagreus, which one she wants to help and stuff. And I really like the lore, just the personality they got. I know this is more on Zagreus' end, but just seeing how, even though Nyx isn't his real mom, he still treats her with so much like love, respect, and care. You can tell. And it's really cool. See that they still have a relationship regardless of whether it's like a, you know, biological parent or not. And I really like that. Hers was always kind of like a voice of comfort when you came back. Her always like telling you not to give up hope. You can always get through this. It was really nice. I love the relationship. And even then, like when all this goes through, you can tell she has a pretty interesting relationship with a lot of the other characters as well. So I think for that, she's cool. I almost wish she could have got like some sort of boons from her and stuff, but she gave you the mirror, which I guess if you want to give it to that favor, that's like kind of your permanent buffs you can get in between your runs, the Mirror of Night. But once again, her design very cool. If you haven't, like, just once again, very detailed design, very cool design. Her voice is super cool. The effects they put on a lot of the characters and like a lot of the gods specifically are super cool. I love a lot of things about this character. Nothing really bad to say. It's cool, but yeah. Orpheus. Once again, not a character I would expect design-wise. I I did not really vibe with the personality of it. I guess it's supposed to be somber, downtrodden, just because of how he's here, separated from Eurydice. Uh, I don't know, very just kind of. He plays the song. You can buy music for him to play. Kind of acts as like your jukebox. But you can pair him back with Eurydice, as like a lot of characters. You can meet them together. Um, yeah, I want to put him in Matt. I don't know. I don't know how much of a controversial take that is. Design wise, I'm not like just super sold on it. It's just kind of. It really exists. I think, as I said, Eurydice is a lot more cooler design, personality wise, all that stuff. Um, his singing voice is nice. Patroclus is next. I like Patroclus. His buffs are want me to put him in awesome. The rest of it might be in solid. That's a hard one for me. His buffs can save you in a run, especially the one where he replenishes any use of Death Defiance. You meet him in Elysium, which is like the third trick. So if you had like kind of a shitty run on the front half, which it happens, this can save you a lot. His other abilities are cool, not as super useful. When you first meet him, he's just very kind of standoffish. Just don't talk to me. He mumbles to himself a lot. He's very, you know, the story with him and Achilles. There's obviously a reason why he is the way he is, of course. It is nice though too with Achilles as well when you finally do get to reunite the two. It's actually it's cool. It's finally seeing him like open up. It does take a very long time to get to that point, which is maybe why I don't want to put his personality any higher. Design wise, don't got a problem with it. I think it's really cool design. It's obviously very similar to Achilles in terms of like their outfit they wear and stuff for obvious reasons. I like it. I think the biggest issue is like, yeah, he's got a very just kind of personality until you do open him up, but it does take a bit to do that. So that's where I have to put it. Persephone, your actual mother. I don't know. Obviously, pretty much the entirety of the story is on her, and she's pretty awesome. I gotta say. Persephone as a character is like the whole reason you're starting this adventure to go reunite with her, as she is Zagreus' mom. When you finally do beat Hades and get to her, it's kind of a touching reunion at first because there's so much you want to talk about, and it takes a few runs before you can actually convince her to go down to the underworld and have her reunite with Hades. There's some strained relationship there too. There's a lot there, but having a very nice motherly figure eventually, when you do get her back to the underworld, is nice, and kind of like the dynamic you get. It's a very post-gamey stuff, so part of me wants to knock her down to awesome. I think I don't dislike her at all. Don't get me wrong. It takes a bit to get to her for reasons obvious, but overall, I think she's a very solid character. Nothing really bad there either. So. Poseidon. He is like the cool uncle type dude. They had to do it since your father is very cold. The Zeus is very Zeusy and just I am the god. Poseidon is just your cool uncle bro dude. I love him. His abilities are awesome. His like rupturing ability where you can knock people into walls and do like mad damage. I love it. I don't know how people fare on the boons. This is like it's a really good set, but for example, just think his abilities are awesome. He's one of my favorite boon people to get besides probably Artemis and Athena here. This is like my top 3 usual picks here. Even one where he just gives you like a bountiful boon of like gems, coins, darkness and stuff. I like that. His voice is cool. Design wise, it's just very standard. It's not like super crazy good. It's good. But like I said, I think it's his personality, his kind of just voice, his boons. His boons are some of my favorites, and just I love him just as he shows up. He's just kind of a goofy guy. So I like him. Sisyphus, while his boulder companion I put in peak, and his boulder ability when you summon Boldy in battle is, I kind of like using him just for the extra item boost it gets you. Personality solid wise, he's just kind of he exists. He's very like just kind of like your bro stuck in Tartarus, this whole boulder thing. And it's kind of funny. You see him at a point where he is kind of gone insane, and you can develop a relationship with Boldy the Boulder as well. It's kind of funny. It's kind of cool. But like other than that, it's just kind of like a one trick character there. Um, but overall, I don't dislike him. I think he's cool. He gives you good early game stuff. He's a character you'd like to seek out very early on in Tartarus if you can't get him. Skelly next. This is not necessarily this is another Hades original character, and he's all right. He's got that weird boyo voice. It's kind of out of place. He's your training dummy, but also has like a whole like little secret lore behind him of like where he is, why is he here helping you. He's just a skeleton that you can train your weapons on. He just gives you a bunch of attacks, talks to you in that funky ass accent. But he's all right. He's funny. He has a couple good quips, but nothing more really that I'd have to say. All right, Thanatos. I feel like some of the people are gonna want him on like the triple S tier as well. They love his Thanatos design. Design-wise, I think he's fantastic. It's cool. When I saw him for the first time, I'm like, fuck yeah, this guy rips. I was put him in solid personality, or awesome, I think. So obviously he has a very, what you'd expect, is very kind of somber, once again, attitude, very cold and distant, which you'd expect. God of Death kind of makes sense. That it's just, he's not like super edgy, happy-go-lucky, or is one of those other kind of extremes. Similar to Meg, he's also another potential romance interest for Zagreus. So you can tell there's kind of some previous history with that. He is, of course, still bound to Hades, like a lot of the other characters, and kind of does his best in secret to help you, because I think he does really want what's best for Zagreus, which I do think is cool, and he'll show up to help take out enemies in his own way, and they'll do like a little bit of a challenge where it's like, hey, if you kill more enemies than I do, I'll give you like a reward to help you on. It's cool. He kind of does it in his downtime. I like it. It's kind of a cool little relationship, either friendship or relationship, depending on what you want to pursue. I like him. Design-wise, I just kind of almost wished a little bit more. I don't know. It's kind of there's something there missing that I can't really put my finger on it. Maybe it's just there's other characters I like more. But I think Thanatos is also really cool. Like I said, his cloak's awesome. His scythe is cool. His design-wise is nothing really bad about it. So good stuff. Fuck Theseus. I hate him. He's an asshole. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy, dude. I hate him. And his boss fight sucks. Oh god. It is like the boss fight that it's like a run killer for me. Which is why Patroclus is the GOAT for giving me those death defiances, because sometimes I need it a lot. He was like the big roadblock for me for the longest time. Got through the Furies pretty quickly. When he got to Hydra, it's like, okay, this was obviously a step up. Then the Minotaur and Theseus, oh my god. Obviously Hades was tough too, but like this was probably like that biggest roadblock for me for the longest time. So that's why he gets there. I fucking hate you. You're an asshole. I hopefully don't. That's not controversial, right? I think everyone hates him, right? Tisiphoni's very similar to Alecto. All she does is spout murder. Once again, the funniest part is just Zagreus' interactions with her. It's just like, oh, I wonder if you're going to say anything other than murder. Murder. It's like, okay. Yeah. I don't really have much to say about her. She's probably my least favorite Fury to fight. I don't really care for her. Like, they all have a little different quirk to their battle. Hers is just kind of existing. I don't know. It's like the constant like changing of the room layout is weird. It just kind of throws me off. I'm not a big fan of it overall. So lastly, we're at the end. Zeus. Kind of a weird list, if I'm gonna say so, but I gotta be honest, he's probably my least favorite of the gods that give you a boon. Design-wise, he's just extremely standard. It's not bad at all. None of these designs are bad. Some of them are maybe not what I'd expect. This is one where I'm kind of like, it's exactly what you'd expect a god Zeus to be in this art style, with how everyone else looks. His beard looks like clouds, which is cool. He's got the big thunderbolt, big booming personality, very big, like, I am the boss, I am the head of Olympus. It is very what you'd expect. His abilities can be cool with the lightning, but it's also very just kind of uninteresting, if I'm being honest. While like every other ability has something really cool about them, like Aphrodite's or Ares and stuff. All of them have something that I'm like, wow, this is really cool. Zeus, I kind of just like, I'm not really crazed on. That's kind of it, really. It's his abilities are there. His personality is exactly what you'd expect. It's just kind of just very, I guess, the stoic god of reason. Nothing bad. Yeah. I kind of just want to lower him there to show that he's probably my least picked boon holder. Yeah, that's kind of it. This is the list now. Yeah, that's all. I love this game. I do love the characters. Pretty much all of the characters are great. I think I like them all. Nothing really I'd say bad, except for fucking Theseus. Honestly, fuck that guy. You know what? Fuck this guy. Fuck Theseus, gang. All my homies hate Theseus. Yeah. That's the list. I'm excited for Hades 2. Let me know if I should play it ahead of time. Or maybe I'll stream that blind. Who knows? I would love to, because I kind of am excited to see a lot of the characters, how any of the characters who are in both games changed, or some of the new ones. I've seen a lot of designs. I'm really excited for that one. And I will probably do a Hades 2 tier list when I get to that game. So let me know if you like this video. Otherwise, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great one. See you later. Bye-bye.